All right. Well, uh, this is my 44th video. No, I haven't been making video in a while, so wanted to make this video to just give an update to what's been happening since the last video. First of all, I just want to thank anybody who's been watching, and hopefully that my videos have been informative. Helping people, let them know that they're not, by themselves. That they're not the only one being targeted, and that there's a lot of us going through this disturbing, disgusting thing, which is being a target individual, where we just are subjects to this I guess human experimentation that's meant to destroy us in every way possible, and change us, and do all these disturbing things to us. As you can see, I'm still wearing like cover on my face, and as I mentioned in all my videos, because I know how this this targeting. First of all, when you talk about it, it sounds like we are going through some kind of mental issues, right? We're having, we might be schizophrenic, right? And that's because what is happening to us, dude, what we're experiencing, it's almost, it's just not hard to believe, because no one would think that human beings right now, as we speak, are being tormented, destroyed, targeted, and that this is a program led by the government, and this is done to this extent, and that they're still experimenting on human beings as we speak, and we are the subjects of this disturbing, disgusting experimentations, and they're using all these resources to do this. So that's why I'm covering my face. I'm still employed, but obviously I know that my employers are fully aware, they partake in it, and I've been making videos before I was employed. Now it's gonna be a little bit I've been there for a while now, but I'm a target individual, and so I expected when I start working there that I will be, things are not, I will have to deal with being a target individual, being employed by my employers, and they definitely are doing their part to let themselves know that they're part of this program, and so they fully know that I'm making these videos, but they are trying to, well, they're making sure that I know that they know, that I'm a target individual, and I'm sure they'll be watching this. But the the reason why I'm making this video, as always, is just like, you don't know how long you have, right? And since my last video, a lot of things have changed, in many ways, right? Not my the type of I'm still targeting individuals. The routines of the targeting are the same, but I changed location, and they've cranked up certain things more than I did before, and now I definitely feel the consequences of what they do to my body, and so I want to make sure, if God forbid, whenever time comes for me to go, that I've left something to say, and just to ensure that, when I heard my first testimonies, it was a godsend for me. It was something special, because I finally could understand. Okay, I learned a lot. It gave me a lot of information that I didn't have. That I was not the only one going through it. I might be by myself. I might be in an isolated situation, but this is not happening just to me, and it's just a horrible thing. And it validated things that I already knew couldn't make sense, right? And because the targeted is very consistent, they maintain a few same of the same. They have the same style of targeting. They have a playbook, and it seems like they use multiple things in their playbook, and this you can hear over and over when you listen to target individuals. And it helped me a lot. So, at this point, whatever happens to me, I am very thankful to everybody who left a testimony or have said something. And I would always say that if you're a target individual, continue to tell your story. Talk about what's happening to you when you can, right? Because you don't know who it might help, and you don't know how impactful it can be. It could just be one person, but to me, that's perfect. That's I'm not trying to reach. I'm just, if I save or I help somebody understand that, please don't harm you. That this you are not what these people are trying to make you believe you are. That's what they put so much resource. They're trying to change you, trying to change who you are, right? And so you have to be strong and know who you are. I'm by myself, right? So the updates here for me is I've moved to a place where I have my own space now, right? I used to live in a place where there's multiple roommates. Now I have my own space, and the good thing is I have my own space. The bad thing is the isolation, seclusion is even higher than before, because although before I was living, there's other people and they were all perps. When you see those perps in person, when you converse with them, you can see how full of BS they are, right? You can see that these people are just these people. They play God, but they just, I call them trash. But you can see that when you're secluded and you don't get the chance to see them, it's a whole different thing, right? Because you don't see their faces, and their faces kind of explain it all. Every once in a while I catch one of those, my neighbors. But let me just give you a little bit of the updates first before I talk about those new perps that I'm able to see every once in a while. So I moved to my own space, and as I mentioned, I'm by myself here. I don't live with roommates, and so uh, I came in here, then immediately they start doing the same thing that was happening where I used to live. I expected that. I didn't expect to change. I didn't move out of the state, as I'm still in New York City, and so I know that's, I'm not. I maybe moved a few miles from where I used to live, so of course I didn't expect anything to change. I don't think anywhere I go that will change. But I came here, and one is they just cranked up all this like radiation and physical torture. So as you can hear me talk, as I'm speaking right now, my lungs are being like restricted. They like kind of making it hard for me to speak. They're putting pressure to my lungs, and they're just going with more physical torture while trying to break me psychologically. They when I was leaving the other place, they were really focusing on my knees, right, trying to break me. My joints are definitely weaker. I feel my bones just kind of warping. It's just weird, but I know they're doing so much terrible things to my body. And it's just my body's reacting to that. They also hear, before I moved here, my intestines and my gastro organs, definitely function differently. Um, and they keep saying, we're fusing things. I don't know what exactly they're fusing. It's not. I haven't gone to a doctor, but I can imagine that they're doing horrible things to my organs. But it's, whatever happens will happen. I'm not fearful of death. And I'm still grateful that I've never had the opportunity to do what they do, because what a horrible life to be them. It's even worse than my life. Um, but they do other things, like they've really focused on with the radiation and saying they're burning me and they're doing all this thing to me. They're doing very like degrading torture, physical torture, and you know different part of my body, my my all the different portions, and really I'm feeling I'm having issues using restrooms, and then, like, and that's the things that they do. Like, they want to break, not only break you, but they want to break you the most humiliating ways. And you hear that when you hear the different testimonies from a lot of men and women, and they just want to break you as a human being. And so when I came here, they're really trying to even increase it. But when I left the other place, they were doing that already. So they really just continue. And so it's a lot of physical torture, a lot of fatigue. Is hard for me. Like, the energy is being drained in many ways. And so that's the physical portion, where my body, my joints, everything. It's just my back. It's just it's stiffer. They're definitely removing rearranging my organs and things around. They're doing some terrible things to my body. And they keep saying that I'm rotting. It's probably because they're doing something to my organs, right? And so I know that this is what they do, and they keep saying, like, "Oh, we warn you," or they keep trying to make it seem like they're doing it to avenge somebody. The truth is, they've, as I mentioned many times in my channel, is these, I call them trash. These clowns are trash. Have done horrible things to some of the most vulnerable people. So when I hear them trying to talk about others, and make it seem like they're doing it to avenge us, or when I know what they do and what they would be capable to do to somebody even more vulnerable than me, I see them for what they are. And I want you guys, to all target individuals, do not put any credibility in these people in regard of telling you what you are or what they're there for. These people, as I've said many times, torture children, women, the most vulnerable way. People who aren't able to, obviously, this is a program with this capability and this level of resources going against civilians that are defenseless to it. And so you understand, these people are not here to do anything dignified or honorable. They're here to do horrible shit to people. And so, however they talk about, whatever they say, the slanders, to me, they do all kind of nasty slander. Talk about child molestations, all kind of nasty things. I know what they do, and I know what they do to kids. And I heard some of the testimonies they've done to people who are actually whistleblowers of child molesters or pedophiles. And so you can understand, this is the kind of people that would do all kind of slander. And in a previous video, they were talking about what I've done as a child, and some trying to find ways to paint me in this nasty ways. Now here they're still doing the same thing. Not only that, obviously, but they're doing these nasty stimulations, this nasty degrading, perception manipulation, all kind of disturbing things that degrade me. This is the way they manipulate me, my mind, and the way I view things, the way I perceive things, the way I think. My thoughts are completely hacked by this technology. And now that I'm here, they really are making it even more obvious, because I feel like the people, those perps that I'm seeing here, are so desperate to hold on this deluded narrative that they painted for me, that they are going above and beyond within this manipulation of my thoughts, my thinking, and my way of thinking, and my everything. The psychotronic is stronger here. It's not stronger, but it's more like they have no shame. It's obviously it's obvious that they're manipulating my thoughts, and it's obvious that they're doing all the most degrading things. I've mentioned my channel, all the things they've done to me, but now it's just so disturbing. I cannot look at anything innocent without it turn into something disturbing one way or another. They do the things they do to break degrade me with my libido is just disturbing, disgusting, and just nasty. The way they make me think of things, the way they go back into my memories and try to manipulate it and put narrative to things and trying to put together. As right before I was making this video, they were trying to talk about, all the different documentary I watched and all the specials those 2020 specials I've watched, and how they, to the point where they're like, remember when, like, they're trying to, this is a very specific, to me, specific to what they're doing to me in regard of trying to paint me this. They were at one point they were like trying to go into my memories to talk about I think a 2020 documentary about how they were catching these pedophiles in Vietnam and whatever, and they're like, you see that, and try to say, you see, that's you, was so nasty crap like that, and try to make me change my personality and try to make me connect with these disturbing low lives that they catch in those countries and these predators, and they're trying to find ways to, like, they want me to identify with this disturbed low life crap trash, so they can create this false persona. It's so disturbing, but this is how idiotic it has become. And when I say this out loud, obviously it sounds, I'm trying to be, I'm not trying to use offensive word, but when you seclude it and gaslight it, and I still have those voices from those V2K trash that are trying to make me, that try to annoy me and have these repetitions things of, like, consistently degrading things they try to tell me, and this they go into a cycle of saying the same thing over and over and over and over, and it just makes no sense. But they just think that if they repeat it enough, that I'm gonna somehow subscribe to this. I'll never subscribe to this, but I am condescending. I'm sometimes like, yes, of course, yes, you're right, I might be, you're absolutely right, knowing that they know I'm being condescending, and they're trying to twist it, how you say that. So but they've done other weird behavior modification things where they make me do certain things with my mouth, and they do like weird things. But one thing that I've noticed is I think it's something that it has to do with my pancreas, because I have like extra amount of saliva, very much, to the point where I have to carry something where I have to spit out my saliva. I don't mean to be gross, but that's something that I cranked up to the point where that's what they do to me. And so they've done all this disturbing thing. And the funny thing, well, in regard of like who they're using now, the ones that do most of the talking, they're still using this younger, like younger adults. I'm quote unquote women. I don't even think they're, but women that try to play this like avenging feminists, where they're just the trash, they're just psyops, and they use the younger, like they use them, and I hear them right via the V2K, and they are the younger ones are saying the most idiotic things, right? It's and they do all this kind of disturbing slander, and they obviously there's older ones that try to say how we're doing it to protect our kids or protecting the community. Mind you, I'm in New York City, and there's actually these things that they're trying to put in me. There's actually people in the surroundings that do those things, not people who are being manipulated and have these disturbing things put in their head. So it's it's the same kind of people, and they really get mad when I'm not going with it. It's like, to them it's like they keep saying they're winning, they'll win. I mean, that's the kind of perps they're using. Really, it's just perps that are so delusional that there's even a chance to lose. You are part of this program that is a program, obviously, with limitless resources, with uh, you know extreme advanced technology that can do all these things to a body, to a mind of a human. And you talk about winning or losing when you go against civilians that are defenseless. There's no winning or losing in this case. It's just more, you're just enduring. Just apply this and that's that. So they're using this kind of people who actually in their mind think this is actually like a winning or losing situation. No, it's like you endure or you don't endure. That's it. So you can imagine that this is somebody who think they're strong doing this to somebody who's defenseless to it. Is not perhaps the strongest person. He's perhaps somebody who's weak-minded, who looks for to be a winner when they're not in real life, or if they are winners, they definitely do not feel like they are winners in when they do this, because there's no losing. It's just you attack defenseless civilians, and them as those perhaps contractors that work for this program think that they are like at war, when the truth is just they just need people like you to do this trash and do these horrible things to civilians with the edge of there's limitless and limitless resources, and they hire those contractors to apply these things. So the government is not going to lose. You're just the trash that you use to apply this experimentation on civilian. But I'm dealing with people with that state of mind around me, right? And I've to not lose myself, because isolation closes. Like when you isolate, you're not you don't get to see like the reality as much. So when they surround all your surroundings are filled with perps. So wherever you go, wherever you interact, you're gonna interact with somebody who's involved, right? And so they're gonna do things to make you stay in this bubble. On top of that, since my thoughts and everything else there is hacked, and they can do all these nasty things, so every time I step outside, I'm like, I expect to have the most degrading psychological torture. I will be degraded. There will be some degrading stimulations. My libido will be played with. My perception will be played with. My imagination will be played with. They'll do all this foul shit. Sorry, I don't want to curse, but foul crap to me, and it's non-stop, and it's degrading. But I create myself. I had this like reality check moment where I make myself have like little reality check videos where I talk to myself on camera. It's like, listen, this is happening. They're gonna try to do this. Don't fall for it. Reality check. Stay real. Like, don't forget who you are. They're trying to change you. This is how they're trying to change you. This is not you. Understand that. So I consistently talk to myself on camera, and with that, it helps me just okay, back to normal. Or at least remember this is what they're doing to you. Because when you're by yourself and this is happening to you, and you have nobody to remind you of who you really are, and you're stuck within these nasty inputs that they consistently put in you and try to change you and try to piece things together while putting this nasty disturbing thing like break you down, depattern you, and then repattern you in this falsified way. This is it's you can easily like forget about you, and so you have to do a lot of things that kind of fun, kind of is silly, sounds silly, but it helps, right? It helps because they are not at war. They're just applying you as a target individual. You are at war with these things they're trying to change you as. So I need to remind myself of me, and remind myself of how stupid and silly and nonsensical what they're doing to me is, and how delusional these people are. So not only think that I'm gonna subscribe to it, but the way they do things is just idiotic. But that's how people are being gaslighted. This is gaslighting. It's just to take away your sense of reality and change it into this falsified narrative they've created for you in the most idiotic way. So I've created things to kind of get back to reality, and I've made a lot of videos about the things they try to do. First of all, I talk about what they do to my body to my mind, the stimulations, all these things, and the things I try to pick together. This is my 44th video, so I made sure to touch on a lot of it, and so now they just try to continue to do this, and the more and more they do it, I need to more and more remind myself what who I am and not what they're trying to change me as. And how idiotic this sounds when they do these things, knowing they put things in a different context and change it and flip it and turn into something else, and all these things. It's just them trying to gaslight me while doing this obvious torture, tormenting, things that I've talked about many times, and it's still the same and it's still degrading. But so this where now that I'm at this place by myself, definitely my body has been more hit, or is now perhaps reacting to what has been done to it for a while, and lungs, legs, all my bones, everything, my teeth are definitely being hit hard. I feel it being very much softer, right? I feel weird. My mouth is just definitely, I know that it can be, they're very sensitive. I'm scared to just like brush my teeth too hard because every once in a while my gums bleed. But they do all these things, which is super typical to what they do. It's the playbook. They really go against the teeth. They radiate the teeth. They radiate my eye, my visions, of course, all of that. And it's nothing new, but it's what they do, and they've been doing it to me a lot more when I got here, because I think because I'm becoming more and more comfortable and confident with who I am, regardless of what they do to me, I'm not subscribing to it. And so with that, they get a little bit frustrated, and so we're gonna crank up the torture. So it's like basically torture. What it is, you torture somebody into submitting into this falsified narrative. It's like, when you hear like people who went to jail and like I was innocent, but they torture me into confessing into something. They beat me into like, so I ended up saying something so I can this pain stop. That's kind of what they do. They want me to subscribe, and if I don't, they like continue to like crank up and torture me as if that I'm like, you know what, I'm ready to go, but I'll never subscribe. And they keep saying that you'll cry, you'll dry, you scream, all of these things, and I'm like, okay, I might go through all these things. At the end of the day, we're all gonna die, right? I'd rather die this way in sufferance than live the way you live. And I tell them, whatever you do to me will be reimbursed. And I wish nothing. I don't hope. I don't want you to kill yourself. I don't want you all the nice, and a lot of things they say is like, oh, I'll get raped. They keep talking about how they're gonna set me up. They're gonna, I'll be serving jail and I'll be in prison or something. They'll set me up somehow. They'll frame me and whatever. So in response, like, whatever happens, I'll face it, and however it ends, it ends. But one thing for sure, I will never subscribe. I will never subscribe to who you want yourself to present yourself as. I'll never subscribe to the nasty things, persona you're trying to put in my head, and disturbing things. I don't know, it's you guys doing these disturbing things that you've done to a lot of people, which include those disturbing dream modulations, which are so horrible and disgusting, the libido manipulation, which is so degrading, disturbing, the thoughts, the inserted thoughts that are so disturbing, and other things. I'll never subscribe to it. And I know if you're capable to do all this and torture children, of course I know you're capable to do all the other things. So I'll never subscribe to this. I'll never let you live little fantasies, and I'd rather die in sufferance than live a life of your caliber. Like, do what you do. I will not be able to live myself doing what you do on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. Like, it's just, I could not, and be okay with myself. This is a weak person way of thinking, and I'm not talking about physically weak, but I'm just saying morally and mentally. It's disturbing, it's sad, it's pathetic, and I'm the one being tortured. I will never want to switch places with you. And so this, I prefer this, and I thank God that when I pray,
I pray and I thank God for never putting me in their situation, because I don't know if I would have, I don't know if I would be weak enough to do the same thing they do. Maybe like, if a bunch of people are doing it and I find it's cool, I have this technology at my hand, I can play God. Um, no, I don't think. I'm glad I didn't even get this presented to me, and so I'm always thankful to God that I, this never happened to me. That I never did what they did. And to mess with me, sometimes say, I'm God. It's like, okay, I see them, and so like, to just come back to when I see them. Oh my gosh, they can't even look at me in the eyes. They look down like as if they dropped something. I shake my head like you're the lowest, the scum of the earth. You call yourself God. And sometimes try they look at me thinking I'm gonna be, because they think that I'll subscribe to what they're putting me, right? So sometimes they try to look at me as like if they look at this person like I'm mad, like I believe it. It's like I look back straight, like I look straight in these people's eyes. Like, don't you think I subscribe to this? You put no fear in me. I know I'm not the strongest man. I know I'm being weakened every day. I know this is a government, like there's no winning, it's just enduring. But I'll never subscribe to it. And so to all my target individuals, I just want to wrap this up. Stay strong, stay strong in the sense that understand that you have more dignity, more honor in your pinky. And I know this is not a symbolism or anything, but you have more strength in your pinky. And just saying how little dignity they have in in that little finger that they have in the whole life, they'll ever have in their whole life. We all gonna die, but we don't all have to live an undignified life. And whatever situation you're living in, whatever pain you're in, understand you at least have more honor and dignity than they'll ever have. They at some point will have to pass too. But can you imagine when it's your hours to go, and you know that you've been part of this program, as much as they try to block it out, they've done so much horrible things, and you have participated in some horrible things, and your time is coming. Can you imagine that, having that in your back in your head? Like, this is me going away, phasing out, and I've done all these things. The fear they might have. I just wish them a long life. I hope they don't. I hope they live a long life so they can be reimbursed properly. And so to all my target individuals, stay strong. Understand that you're much better than they'll ever be. Understand that what they're doing to us will be reimbursed. Not only to us who are still alive, but to all the people who died from it, including children, and all the degrading things they've done to you. Understand that it will be reimbursed. They are not they're not protecting anybody, they're not helping anybody, they are the scum of the earth. And do never ever subscribe to who they want to present themselves as, or who they want you to believe that you are. Don't ever subscribe to it, okay? And so that's my last words for now. Stay strong, and know that justice will be done. God bless you.